Andy, we're here for the first time because we do have an agenda. And the agenda is something that we created a couple of years ago when we started to recognize that the industry has a problem. And the industry has lots of problems, we all know. But there's a fundamental problem that everyone shares, and that is there's a lack of growth. Now, we as marketers, we're responsible for the majority of the growth that's engineered by all of the companies that are out there. And when we look at our actual performance, when we look at our accountability, we simply look at the Fortune 500. And the answer is that about half of the companies that are in the Fortune 500 have declining revenues and declining after-tax profits. Now, we can interpret that lots of ways, but in many ways it's an indictment on our marketing system. As technologically savvy as we think we are, as intelligent as we think we are certainly not achieving our mission, which is to be able to drive brand and business growth. Why? CEOs demand it, shareholders demand it, everyone demands it, but we're not delivering. It could be one of the reasons why CMO tenure is as short as it is. So as we began to dig deeper into this, we started to recognize that there were fundamental flaws in the way we manage ourselves. We'd lost sight of being able to pursue brand and creative excellence. We lost sight of our efficiency and our infrastructure. And that's highlighted by a general fact of only 25 to 40% of all digital spending reaches the consumer. Where did the other money go? We lost sight of the fact that our industry requires a tight relationship with our talent, both from academia through professional and the amount of skills that they have, or the lack of skills that they do not have. So when we examined the full portfolio, we recognized that we needed to essentially push our leadership agenda to work to establish or reestablish fundamental growth principles, to get our industry to recognize that we have to perform like business people. We have to appeal to the shareholders, and that meant that we had to transform the way we needed to do business. The way we did it was we said we needed the leadership of the industry to come together, the chief marketing officers. Not anybody else, but the CMOs needed to take charge of this. It's their agenda. It's their resources that fuels everyone else. But if you think about it, CMOs, they'll come together, they'll love to network, but they weren't working collaboratively to move the entire industry upward. That's what we've been trying to do. And we created this enterprise called the CMO Masters Circle. And what we've done is we've essentially created a strategic agenda of 12 different pillars, some of which I just mentioned. And we've been making lots of progress on many fronts in their respective silos, but our intent now is to merge them all together to create one significant growth agenda. As we talk to Cannes, as we always do, don't always participate, but we have a lot of conversation. They liked what we were doing with respect to the Master Circle and said very simply, should we be doing this on a global basis? We said, well, you know what? There's a great idea. We'd be happy to have the conversation with the global CMOs. And that's why we're here today.
And where does the conversation go? What is all this work and thought and research? How does it transform things? It's not going to transform everybody, but right. What are your hopes, for the ANA to be a transformative force?
Well, to be a transformative force, you have to focus in on the one or two significant issues, perhaps in all of the areas, and attempt to make a difference with them. Now, a very key lesson that we learned at the ANA was you can't do it alone. And you need to find the right partners to be able to engineer the progress necessary to make those differences in any one of the 12 areas that we're focusing in on. And that's what we've been doing over the past couple of years, is to find the right partners, whether it's with other marketers or with other consulting companies or other institutions, or collaboratively with our sister associations like the IAB and the 4As, to create that umbrella of competency and capability so that we can begin to perform differently. So use an example like the Trustworthy Accountability Group, or TAG. They were created by the 4As, IAB, and ANA to combat fraud, malware, and other issues. But what we needed to do was to create an institutional presence that allowed for confidence to grow in the entire digital supply chain, that we could attack fraud at its roots. And so the essence of that is we created a certified process that when marketers put their ads essentially through this certified chain, they have high confidence that their ads will be fraud-free. Recent research says that those ads that went through the tag certified system had 83% improvement in fraud rates than the general market. That's the type of progress we're looking to make. And if we can institutionalize it within the sphere that we operate, can we do that globally as well? First, when we're here, we need to ensure that the CMOs, the global CMOs, believe that this is an issue that we need to attack, and if they do, to gain their commitment to do so. Then the second thing we need to do is to figure out, okay, well, how do we think we want to do this? That's part of what we came to Cannes to find out, is their level of interest, and assuming that they're interested, how do we go do it?